So we are our kids' first teachers, right? So how do we do this? So through my research, I learned there are 4 developmental areas you want to include when teaching your child at home. We want a whole child education. That means just not the academics, but all 4 areas of development. Social and emotional. This is learning how to ask for the ball back when they're at the park. It's managing those hard feelings of being upset when it's time to go out of the park and it's time to get in the car. It's learning to play together. So when we're educating our kids at home, we're not just focusing on learning the 1, 2, 3s and the ABCs. Social and emotional part is very, very big. And I'm not one to teach you that because I'm taking the courses to deal with that myself. But I'm just here to tell you, add that into your pile, okay? The second piece is language, communication, development, right? So this is all types of communication. It's the verbal communication, it's the nonverbal communication, it's learning about the joy to discover a new book and the stories that are in it. It is understanding that words have meaning and that they're made up of letters and discovering and recognizing those letters the natural way. So it's not because it's the letter of the week that's A for apple because it's September. It's that letters are words and words to sentences and sentences have books and the books have magical stories that will transform the way we communicate. We will read other people's imaginative stories and that's how we teach literacy, but I'm getting ahead. But that you get it. Language, communication, books, got it, get it. It's teaching them how to talk. It's teaching them how to communicate, not with just talking, but with like pointing. The third one is movement, your physical development. So kids learn from the neck, learn this, because when I saw that, I was like, it makes sense. Kids learn from the neck down and from the chest out. That means learning with their whole body. Kids need to learn to run and get those big movements out. So those are the gross motor skills. And they will find a way to do that, sometimes jumping on the sofa or jumping at the park, right? Those big movements, they take information with their whole body. So that means in order to learn something, they need to use all of their senses. They need to jump on it, they need to touch it, they need to smell it, they need to taste it even sometimes. That's how they learn. So from the neck down, meaning it's not happening only here in the brain, it's happening in the body. Is they're experiencing life, okay? And sometimes we're so focused on that brain and what we can teach and put inside that brain that we forget that the brain gets information from all of our senses. And they learn and they're very, very aware of things that they touch. Like, have you take a kid to a public restroom? They'll go like this to the wall. You're like, don't touch it. Because they need to feel it. They need to touch it. If I tell you right now, can you think of how does a wood taste? Yes. Do you know how wood tastes? Like a wooden spoon? Yes. Because you, at one point, put it in your mouth. What about metal, right? So it's like we take all these things for granted, but they take information with all of that, and they do that through movement. So then the last one is the cognitive development, which is kind of like when we tend to focus the most. It's learning, it's thinking, it's problem solving, it's asking themselves, what if? Or what happens if I throw this? What happens if I do this? What happens if I throw this plate with my food down on the kitchen floor right after mama gave it to me? Oh, it falls down. Okay, what happens if I do it again? Will the same thing happen? So it's asking those questions. I like to call them little scientists because they're always doing little experiments. And once you realize that they're little explorers, they're little scientists, you start to understand a lot of the behaviors that they do. So here's secret number 1. Pulling my hair. So secret number 1 was I themed my days so I would ensure that I had all those 4 areas covered, but not overwhelm myself trying to cover them all in one day. Like that was impossible. And on top of it, go do the dishes and go do the laundry and have dinner ready. So I would spread it out across my week. So just as with my house, my management stuff, I evaluate things on a weekly basis. So this was a sample of my summer breakdown. And what I want to invite you is that you, as you listen to this, is to find if you are already doing, you probably are already doing these 4 areas of development. Like if you see that you are adding some of these activities already naturally in your routines, throughout your week. So I'm going to give you my sample. So Mondays, we had music, right? Music class. Music is a great tool for language development. If you attend even a local class, it also covers a little bit of that social interaction. Our Tuesdays were focused on those social skills, those play dates, those, I needed that social interaction as well. It was my time of, chatting with other moms and having some communication skills myself. Wednesday was our days to work on those big movements, those gross motor skills. So think about it like my nature walks, or going to the playground, or taking like a long walk to climb mountains, in the backyard. Because what happens is if we want our kids to write with pencils later on, they need to have strong muscles, and the muscles start. So writing starts from the shoulder and from your core. And we don't realize that. We think, oh, here's a pencil, here, practice. But they need to have a strong core, a strong shoulder, a strong elbow, a strong wrist to be able, those big movements then become little movements, okay? So when you think about pre-K readiness skills, think about it's all those 4 areas. We need to empower them with all those 4 areas because they have something to do with it. Like we need those big movements in order to manage those little movements. And then Thursdays was the day that I would just literally assign to my home. It's the day where I did the laundry, cleaned the bathrooms. It was our slow day at home. And those days is when I focused on those cognitive developments. So that's when I would take out the puzzles. We would play with the sensory bins. We would read, because that's a great way for communication, for literacy, for bonding. And then we would read some more. And then Fridays, that's when I threw the house out the window. Okay, for my new people in town, there's something you gotta know. Miss Alexa goes big or go home, right? Like what is it? Go big or go home. I don't do little paint. I do big paint, okay? I don't do a little bit of slime. I do 7 pounds of slime. And that's just a problem that I have. I don't do little. That's just the kids that would go to my class, they would know they would be covered from head to toe. And if I didn't get you completely covered in slime or water or something, then I didn't do my job. Doesn't mean you have to throw your house out the window on Fridays, but you do want to give a little flexibility. So often we want to control everything about our toddlers, right? The activities they do, when they do, how much they eat, when they paint, how much paint to give them. And we need to give time and space for their creativity. So Fridays were my favorite day. There still are. Give them that creativity, give them that space. And I know, yes, creativity does not only involve paint or sensory. You can be creative with blocks, but my life works like that. It's paint, it's a lot of paint. So finally, I felt that I was in charge, and you can be too. And we're not here to follow someone else's path. So I'm not telling you need to do 7 pints of slime. I want you to identify your own patterns, your own, we're going to get into our energy levels now, and your own way of doing things so that it works for you, right? For you and your family. So just like different parenting styles, we all have different activity styles, or the way that we manage our days, right? How our days flow. So today we're going to find yours, right? I'm going to help you find yours.